Hi, I'm Nancy Guppy, host of Art Zone, and I recently had the pleasure of interviewing John Lavin, a successful and sought-after production designer whose work has played a major role in creating the look and feel of feature films, music videos, and, most recently, TV. One note, we talk numerous times about filmmaker Lynn Shelton, John's close friend and longtime collaborator. This interview was recorded 2 weeks before Lynn's sudden and untimely death. Here's my conversation with John. Hi, John Lavin.
Hi, Nancy.
It's great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let's start out with a real basic overall question. What does a production designer do?
The production designer is the one in charge of the art department, and the art department are the ones who take care of everything on the screen that's not the actor. Mm-hmm. So it's not the wardrobe and makeup and it's not the lighting. But if that actor walked away, everything in the screen is the art department's problem, and the production designer is the one in charge of the art department.
That's a big job.
It's a great job. It's fun.
So you've done feature films with Lynn Shelton, Saturday Night Live director Oz Rodriguez, music videos with Macklemore and Ed Sheeran. Mm-hmm. How is it different designing for a feature film versus a music video?
Well, feature films they're a long story. So you have a character to develop, and you sort of have to decide what's their world like and where do they come from and who are they and what would be their backstory. Stuff that's not necessarily in the script, and it's more about development of a world for them to inhabit. Mm-hmm. And that has to be a discussion with the director right from the start. I mean, this is their vision. We're building the world for this character that they walked into this with. In a music video, usually it's a little looser because there tend to be more cuts in the edit and more freedom to just be this happens and then that happens, and they don't necessarily need to be connected.
Like the narrative arc is a different kind of an arc.
Yeah, well, depending on the story, yeah, right. And you've also got, there's going to be by necessity a whole lot more cuts and more sort of things to see and snapping through, and oftentimes that just means you're sort of throwing more looks at it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is there a point in a project when you know in your gut that you are on the right path?
Yeah, that would be hard to name what that point is, but sure. Yeah, there's a point really early on in a project, especially a sort of a longer project, where oftentimes is when you're still scouting for locations and looking at things, and all you've got is a script, and the ideas are sort of gelling, and then there's a lot of conversation with the director, and usually with the cinematographer or DP, the director of photography, and you're kind of figuring out sort of look and feel stuff. And once you sort of land on it, oftentimes it's a thing where you're saying, this should feel a little bit like Goodfellas meets Pee-wee's Big Adventure or whatever. You sort of find, things and say, if we can make this vibe feel like that, and then you sort of lock in on, and then once that idea becomes clear, that's a feeling where it sort of feels like, okay, now we sort of get what this is.
You work with, numerous directors and a fair amount with a couple in particular. I think you've done most of Lynn Shelton's films, or quite a few of them.
Yeah, I've done them all back to Your Sister's Sister.
Right. Plus quite a few music videos with Jason Koenig. Yeah. Describe the relationship that you try to foster or you want to foster with the director.
There's a remarkable thing. Lynn and I we've known each other for a very long time. We go way back. And she and I have, there's a certain, there's a rapport we have and an understanding we have and a kind of a shorthand that's pretty great. The understanding is that there are a lot of little questions along the way, especially in the beginning development of this idea, where you just need to have a rapport and you need to have an understanding that we're on the same page, they get what I'm about, I understand them, and then we can sort of put in a quick question and just say, this or this, and they kind of go, oh, it's that one. Okay, great. And you do that a number of times and you sort of start kind of dialing it in. This is the way this is looking. Everybody okay with this? And then you don't have to do it so much. The director has a million things in their project that they have to worry about. And so oftentimes, if the art department comes up with something that feels like a good idea, a prop person or a set decorator, says, oh, this would be great if this was in their room. It would tell the story about their childhood in a way that we don't even have to discuss. Oftentimes those are like really appreciated. The director loves that kind of stuff.
Which of course is why they're hiring you, is they want that kind of creative input. They want that creative back and forth. That's the point. Right. Do you think directors or producers come to you for a specific John Lavin vibe or look?
I don't. I think, I don't. I've had a career of doing a lot of things in my life. I was an illustrator and started as a cartoonist. I've done window display. I've done really a lot of things. Painter, I was a painter for a long time. Part of what I think makes me really much better suited to this work than being a gallery painter and being an artist per se is that I'm able to sort of take on other looks, sort of embody the thing that's appropriate for the project in a way that can be sort of death for an artist's career. You know, nobody goes to say, oh, he's the person who can paint anything in the art world. But in this world, being able to sort of take on the range is a more positive thing.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about working for big stars for a minute. So you've worked on, I know, you worked on multiple music videos, right, for Macklemore and Ed Sheeran, and including Ed Sheeran's 2017 music video, The Shape of You, which I checked yesterday, and it was close to 5 billion views, right?
More views than people in the world.
So I'm assuming you might get a penny per view, right?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? No,
Wouldn't that be nice?
you get the satisfaction of knowing that you've done something that a lot of people have seen.
A lot of people have seen. So did you interact directly with Macklemore or with Mr. Sheeran on those projects? And if you did, what were they like? And did they have a lot of input?
It depends on the specific one, whether they were sort of more involved in the creative end of it or more involved in the performance end of it and not that involved in the creative.
The Downtown video, Macklemore's music video, building the motorcycle, that chariot for Macklemore, that looked like a lot of fun. Tell me a little bit about making that.
Yeah, that's actually, that's a good one to bring up. So Macklemore and Ryan Lewis were like really involved in what was going on, the whole scope of it and what they wanted to happen. And in my very first meeting with Jason, the director, and then with Ryan Lewis, it just came right out of it like, and then we want this to happen. We need there to be an eagle chariot pulled by 4 motorcycles. And so, you know, you say, well, do you want the whole eagle or is it just an eagle's head? Like how, you know, you just become part of that world and make it happen. So in that case, there's a hot rod or motorcycle customizer in Seattle named Keith Wong, and he rigged the motorcycles and to the power of the shell of or the basic like trailer of the chariot. And I made the chariot look like the eagle head. Uh-huh. So the works of it, I can't take any credit for it all. That's him.
It's such a great look. Just speaking about kind of a contrast of looks. So again, like with the Macklemore, like Downtown is a good example, and some of his other ones too. Bright, sharp, vibrant, almost cartoony in a way. And then of course there's a Megan Griffiths or a Lynn Shelton film, much more subdued, more realistic. How do you approach color and tone in the production design?
I think I don't make that the driver, honestly. It's more about not tone in the sort of graphic element way, but tone in the sort of vibe and tone. Yes. That's really what drives me. So it has a lot more to do with what's appropriate for the script and the character. When we did Outside In, which is a Lynn Shelton movie that we made in Granite Falls, it rained every day of the production. Nothing's bright. Things are subdued, kind of crappy, and it was a little bit sort of overcast vibe through the whole thing.
Sure, right.
So in a way, like that sets the tone, and then this set decorator and the props people, and we're all sort of working in the same world.
Now, your newest project and your first foray, right, into television is 3 Busy Debras on Adult Swim. Congratulations.
Thanks.
What is the premise of 3 Busy Debras?
3 Busy Debras are well, there are 3 women named Debra who live in a sort of suburban Stepford wife hell, and it's a very broad comedy.
Meet Debra.
Careful, kid. Don't fall in love with me.
Debra.
This is my sleeping helmet. It stops the dreams from getting out.
And Debra.
I'm gonna look inward and make some big changes to my personality. I'm getting fake.
There are three women who write and executive produce, and they're the performers. And they were just delightful to work with, very funny, super inventive, and liked everything we threw at them. When I was saying about the movie sort of, it's a little bit of this meets a little bit of that, this is sort of a Douglas Sirk 50s suburban women's story kind of look meets Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So it really is, and it's kind of like once we sort of hit on that weird combo kind of being the sort of vibe of the thing, it's kind of a delightful spot to land on, and then we just sort of went with that. But there's a million wacky there's a million props. I would just like nearly pass out looking at the scripts that we would get, because literally every sentence or every two sentences would involve another prop that we would just have to come up with.
I never thought I'd see an ATM eruption in my lifetime.
It's the most art-heavy job I've ever done. There's no question about it.
Witnessing a miraculous event.
When you look at the broad array of projects that you've worked on, are there favorite moments, a favorite moment perhaps that stands out that you feel like, man, that was great, that was cool?
Suddenly my head is filled with them. So
well, that's good.
I would say, yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, I think one time, honestly, just maybe because we were just discussing it, but that in the downtown video where, there's the chariot, there's this huge parade in the street, that just felt fantastic. That was really fun and sort of felt like this is a bigger thing than I would have ever been able to sort of imagine pulling off. The other opposite version of that is when we were in this little cabin during the Perfect music video for Ed Sheeran. There was this sort of downtime while they were fixing the lights, and he and I just sang in this tiny little 4x8 room, this really tiny little room in this cabin. He picked up his guitar and he and I were just singing songs while I was decorating the room. And so for 15 minutes, he and I were just singing songs. Do you know this one? Do you know this one? That was very fun. And yeah, there's a lot of them.
Even though we're in a global holding pattern, what's next for John Lavin?
Well, I'm a freelancer and have been for years and years. And I think freelancers, just as I talk to my friends and try to keep in touch, we know how to do a quarantine. we've all sort of been in the world where suddenly there's not a lot of work and you have to fill your day. And so I'm just taking on a million different projects around the house and building sheds and fire pits and we built a little art gallery in our front yard, like one of those little lending libraries, but we made ours with about 6 friends. We made an art gallery.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. And honestly, there are a lot of projects, small things that people are saying, when we can get this up and running again, we'll do it. But I'm waiting for the next. There's talk about bigger things, but I sort of can't discuss them. And we'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see who emails me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, when the emails start coming in.
We just get used to waiting for the email. So.
Finally, is there a movie or a TV show that you've seen in the past month or so where the production design knocked your socks off that you would recommend?
Babylon Berlin. It's the best thing I've seen in years. The production design is so beautiful, and it's all about Weimar Germany, 1929. It's unbelievable.
Okay, it's on the list.
Good.
I think I have some time to watch that.
It's really good. It's worth seeing. Yeah, it's great.
Well, John, thanks so much for talking, and you are a truly talented artist.
Thanks. That's nice of you.
I love your work, and thanks for sharing kind of what's been going on, and we look forward to seeing what's next.
Thanks, Nancy. Thanks a lot.
Okay, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was great.
Oh, good.
Fantastic. How'd you feel?
Terrible.